Thank you so much for being with us this evening. I'm Greg Lloyd, and tonight we're bringing you a special back-to-school edition of WGXA News. You know, I had the opportunity to speak with Lisa Morgan, the president of the Georgia Association of Educators, to find out what she had to say about the upcoming school year.
We will have some first graders who will be entering the building for the first time because they were virtual last year. And so we will have to spend some extra time to help them understand how those things work in our buildings. This year is going to be a transition year. I truly believe that.
Lisa Morgan, president of the Georgia Association of Educators, says there's no denying COVID-19's impact will shape the start of the school year.
Not only are we as adults surviving a pandemic, but our students are surviving a pandemic, and whether they became ill or not, there is a social and emotional effect on them.
And that's why the Georgia Association of Educators would like to see all school districts use some federal dollars to expand their staffing.
Through the American Rescue Plan funds, we are asking districts to consider adding and using those funds to add more social workers and counselors in our schools, and to certainly ensure that we have school nurses in all our schools.
Morgan also says that districts will follow best practices to promote students' physical well-being too by following CDC guidelines.
We do have to realize that the Delta variant is there. Cases are ticking up, and our youngest children, our elementary students, those younger than 12, are not even eligible for the vaccine yet.
Morgan says the state's teachers will do all they can to offer your children quality instruction in safe environments while remaining sensitive to their overall needs. Also tonight here we have four very important guests that Morgan represents. We're honored to have some Middle Georgia teachers with us in the studio. And I'm going to just let each of you introduce yourself and tell us which school you're at.
I'm Cindy Kwan Hong. I teach at Springdale Elementary.
I'm Doug Thompson. I teach at Northside High School in Warner Robins.
I'm Erin Kelly. I work at Miller Fine Arts Magnet Middle School and here in Bibb.
Hi, Caleb Oglesby, Southwest High School.
We're glad to have all of you here, and we want to start off by asking you to recap what was 2020 like for you as an educator?
I'd say it was pretty difficult because we had to learn how to integrate technology and our face-to-face classrooms, because we had some students in Houston County that were out of school, but there were also students that were face-to-face, and it was necessary for us to make sure that we had the technology also backing up what we were doing in the classroom. And it was interesting to meld the two together and feel like you were giving the students that were on the technology-based education, the education that they were getting face-to-face.
And despite the challenges, we actually, I think, had some good come from this. I think we were propelled further into the 21st century by this entire experience. Bibb County was actually able to go one-to-one with technology, which was huge for us. I think that wouldn't have happened otherwise as quickly as it did. So we've got some new online platforms and things that I think our students are really benefiting from in the long run, that have, you know, come in hand with the challenges, but have actually been kind of beneficial for us.
Well, I think personally is that this was the time that we were able to see that education actually means something more than the actual norm that's expected. I think that this was definitely a time that we as a district was able to show that we were definitely prepared. We were able to test our metals, we were able to test our infrastructure, show that we had exactly what we needed to step up to the challenge. And we were able to engage with parents more so than we normally do. We were able to collaborate with parents more so than we normally do.
I agree. When brick and mortar closed, we were faced with a challenge, and you know, everybody pulled together, and we saw, we came, we conquered, and we did. And we, teachers and educators across Middle Georgia, we really went beyond the line. And I am very honored to be part of a system that really supported. The community really came out. They supported our students. Our parents are remarkable. Yeah, I think we can just pat ourselves on the back at this point.
I certainly don't think anyone would give you less than an A+, all of you. When moving forward, as we look forward to this new year, what do you think will propel us past this COVID era?
I think the ability to understand that our students will come with a set of challenges that they probably had not have had dealing with COVID and dealing with the other implications of being at home. and that we really need to focus on the emotional aspect of students and serving our students in a way that will meet them where they are, you know. And we talked about that in our professional learning development courses about meeting students where they are.
Yeah.
I think teacher dedication, teachers I think really learned where they were in this last school year, and they realized that the reason why they teach is because they love to teach. They have a commitment to their students to help them where they are, wherever that may be. And I think teacher dedication is going to be what's going to propel us into the next school system or the next school year and on, because we're dedicated. I think if anything, 2020 proved that.
We were talking to our superintendents earlier about coming back to school, and one of the things that parents have been concerned about is socializing.
Right.
And their children, you know, have gotten used to being more isolated than among their peers. Right. How do you think a teacher can help in that role of helping kids come together again?
I think it starts with having an earnest conversation with yourself and dealing with what you've gone through as an educator personally first, because before we step into the classroom, we have to ensure that we are objective and we're not partial, right? And so as we deal with ourselves, we must make sure that our classrooms are socially and emotionally engaging as well as intellectually challenging.
And Cindy, speaking of those relationships, I'm interested because I know that you teach younger students. What kind of challenges have you faced or do you face specifically?
I teach art, and it was very challenging going from very hands-on experiences to learning behind a screen, and then you had shortage of materials. How do you still be creative with minimal supplies? How can you still be engaged when the teacher's not in the room? And so that was a big challenge for me. And then going back, you know, now I'm just looking forward to just getting into it, getting paint on my hands, getting paint on their clothes, okay, maybe with an apron on. But, you know, just little things like that, that's what students remember, and that's kind of like their lasting memory of you. And just even that little microsecond of what they learned in the classroom, that's going to go a long way. And that for me is important. I may not remember all 600 plus students. I'll know them by faces. I'll remember most of them by name, maybe 98% of them by name. And that for them is like, she knows my name. You know, it's amazing. I can't wait. I can't wait to go back to there.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a wonderful, beautiful conversation, and we thank you so much again for taking time out to be with us here tonight. And we'll have more for you here on WGXA News right after this.